The Urban Sentinel, and like I was telling Reggie, I had the pleasure of being at his airport about a week and a half ago. It was a brief layover and all along those lines because I was actually going down to Miami to a conference around internet. So some of the people from Roku and Amazon Fire and other places were down there. So on the flight there, I think I flew into Nashville, I should say. But on the flight back, my layover was in Baltimore. So went from Miami to Baltimore and then Baltimore to Raleigh Durham. So I did get to see that y'all got a nice little airport. Didn't get to roam around it much and everything, but it did look like it was a nice international airport there in Baltimore. And I jumped on the plane and all along those lines. But I was impressed. It looks like y'all had some good food options, even though I didn't try any of them and everything. But it did look like there was some good company there, and it looks like some good people who are traveling around. I know that a lot of people are scared to fly because I think that on all four flights that I went, the airline people were basically like, "There's plenty of room. You can take the seat of your choice. Don't have to go to your assigned seat, and you can have plenty of leg room." As a matter of fact, I think a couple of the pilots and the stewardess joked that if you're there and you're mad with your wife, don't worry about it. Y'all can sit in different seats, and all along those lines, you don't have to sit together if you're mad with each other, and all in that space because even though the planes are flying, and that's a good thing, people are concerned about the nature of the airlines, and it seems like every time you turn around, there's another crash and everything. As I was telling Kim and everything, I looked on the airport and I looked in the plane and I saw some strips of things on the plane that looked like they were falling apart, and definitely looked at the plane wings. And I'm going like, I just gonna have to do a lot of praying, maybe get some good sleep because that's sometimes what you can't control. You just sleep and hope that you land safely and that you get to your destination and everything. Because I think even when the stewardess came by, they were like, "Yeah, we didn't get your soda order and your peanut order, but we'll give it for you now because you look like you were in the middle of a good sleep." And all along those lines. I don't know the last time you went flying, but I did have the pleasure of flying out of the Baltimore airport and everything like that. So it was been a minute since I've been to your airport, but it did look like it was a good airport. And like I said, the founder of this network paid for me to go down to Miami, and he's the one that chose the layover route. So, like I said, flying in, we went into Nashville, and flying back, it was through Baltimore and everything like that. So it was really weird because I'm going like, so we're going to fly from Miami to Baltimore and then Baltimore down. Why are we going up before we go down? But I can never figure it out and everything like that. But they do some strange things with their routing.
Yeah, I've had those type of flights before too. I mean, I've gone through Washington, back to Philadelphia, then back to Washington. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I think they do a lot of it. It's not even a thing about uh, fuel or anything like that. It's about keeping the seats full. So
Yep.
whatever they got to do to keep a full plane, going destinations and stuff. I mean, I guess that's how they decide the routes and stuff. But they can pick you out some crazy routes.
They pick out some crazy routes and everything like that. Hey, well, I know you got your buddy that pops in every once in a while, but I got to ask you, what's going on with our buddy in terms of these executive orders and in terms of what he's doing? I know he's gone out against paper straws, and your paper straws can't have an issue with the environment, but he did sign an executive order about that, and then he signed an executive order about terminating people, including apparently the people that run some of the nuclear codes and everything like that. So I don't know. It seems like we just got a man that gets bored every day. And I heard the latest one, which I know you'll get a kick out of, but apparently he is mad at the NFL because of the Kendrick Lamar performance, which is definitely a ode to Gil Scott Heron and an ode to the Crips and the Bloods and a number of other things that he gave respect to. But apparently Trump didn't like it, so Trump wants the owners to pick the halftime show and everything like that. So he's cut out this notion that the owners will pick the show, whereas before I think it was a private promoter or somebody like that that picked it. But I guess he did not like the last ones that were picked. He definitely didn't like Kendrick Lamar. He probably didn't like the Latin girls that were a couple of years ago. And there's probably a number of other ones that he didn't like. Maybe it's because Kid Rock hasn't performed it any lately. And I know you're over there in Baltimore. And it looks like the Kennedy Center is now going to be under the direction of Donald Trump because he fired most of the staff. I think Issa Rae resigned. I think that Ben Folds 5, and Ben Folds 5 is from down here in North Carolina. He retired from the Kennedy Center, and I guess he's going to replace them with friends of his and everything. So I don't know what the Kennedy Center is going to start showing there in D.C. now that Donald Trump is in charge.
Well, he's done all that, but I think one thing, like the reason Kendrick Lamar did what he did was to highlight DEI.
Right.
And, and that's what the whole message was. But a lot of white folks can't figure out what the message was. And that's why he was doing it. That's why you saw all black.
Right.
They said no DEI, so I guess you said, well, no DEI, I go all black, no whites and everything.
Yeah.
But and then like I said, he took over the Kennedy Center. A lot of performers have already canceled for this
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
So he either gonna put money into the Kennedy Center to keep it going, or he gonna bring in his type of performers and stuff. But this. What you got to realize: when a man is trying to be a dictator, a president is
Mhm.
trying to be a dictator, or a leader is trying to be a dictator, the one thing they started doing is tearing down the country, okay, and
Mhm.
trying to control everything. And basically, that's what he's doing. He's trying to control everything. So once he is able to get everything controlled, then hey, he be able to move on, keep doing what he wants to do. If you look at it, I was reading an article. They say that his people told him to model himself after Will McKinney.
Oh well.
But you realize McKinney, I think he took Hawaii, he
Mhm.
took Puerto Rico,
Right.
and a couple other countries. Okay, he went in there strong on them and took them. That's why you hear him saying, "I'm gonna take Greenland,"
Right.
or "I'm gonna take
Canada.
Canada. I'm gonna take Mexico. I'm gonna take the Panama Canal back." That kind of stuff because he's trying to strong on these countries and be a dictator, and that's all he sees, and that's why he's burning down the federal government right now.
But can he strong arm everybody, Reggie? Because I mean, I know that we've got a ally. At least America's got an ally. I'm not saying that he's an ally of everybody in America, but Benjamin Netanyahu is in Israel and all along those lines, and he's saying that he wants to turn the Gaza Strip into a river era, much the way that Lebanon used to be,
Well,
and everything. And I'm going like, how's he going to do this? And is he going to just start a
he
Trump
didn't.
hotel there?
He didn't say that. Trump said that. He was surprised. He was surprised when Trump said that at the news
Right.
conference. Trump idea. I ain't making no allowances for him, but Trump is not a politician. He doesn't think like a politician. He continues to think like a business person. And being the racist he is, he doesn't care about moving people and displacing people, okay?
Mhm.
Especially people of color, especially minorities, okay? If it's going to benefit him,
Right.
okay? Now, how in the world you going to go in there and take another country's land and decide you're going to run those people out and try to make two other countries take people in so you can go and so you can go and do your thing and create a resort area,
Right.
okay? Now, how you gonna do that? So that's one of his problems he has, trying to be bigger than what he is. It's like with these negotiations with gosh,
Russia and Ukraine.
Russia now. Ukraine's not at the table. How are you gonna go in there and strike a deal, and the country that was harassed and beat down, they're not even at the table to say no, we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I did not understand that at all. But apparently, there's some people, and I don't think I've talked to you since it happened. But do we have one president, or do we have a co-president? Because even a couple of times, Trump has tried to downplay this notion that Elon Musk is really having more control than he was intended for him to have, and everything like that. So, do we have one president, or do we have a co-presidency? And I'm also hearing some grumbling, and I'm sure you're hearing it too, because you're in Baltimore. This notion that he's trying to manipulate himself into a third term, which we've not had in decades and everything. So are we going to have Trump 3.0? And is this something that we need to be fearful of?
I, it's something you need to be fearful of because when you look at the Trump 2.0, what he's trying to do, well, Congressman, right after he got sworn in, said that, okay, the Constitution says you can't run two consecutive terms. Okay, you
Right.
can't be elected two consecutive terms. He's trying to say, well, he missed 4 years because he got defeated. Okay, so this should be the beginning of his first term, and so he should be allowed to run a second term. And what they were thinking about doing is putting in a bill to do an amendment to the Constitution. But the caveat of it was Obama couldn't run again and Bill
Right.
Clinton couldn't run again. Okay. And Bush couldn't run again.
Right.
So that's what the caveat was. So he's yeah, he's trying to manipulate this thing. But look, let me tell you something. How old is he now? 78, 79 years old?
Yeah, I think 78, 79, something like
He
that.
might ain't make it out this turn. They're talking about a second turn, a third turn. He might not even make it out this turn.
Yeah, he might not make it out of this one. You're right about that and everything. By the way, because I was talking to a friend of mine who's got some ties to the African continent and everything. How well do you think Elon Musk would survive if he had to go back to South Africa? Because I'm thinking that a lot of them brothers and maybe even some of those Zulus would not be his best of friend and everything. He did have that Hitler salute. So would Elon be welcome back in South Africa?
No, they're killer. I'm tell you why they want. See, the reason he left South Africa was because when the new regime came in, they created a law saying that because the white Afrikaners, they're the minority, but they have the most money and the most land.
Right.
So they were saying that businesses would have to break off a piece to the community with their businesses and stuff. That's why he's never going back down to South Africa because he's going to have to break off a percentage of the business to the government, you know, and he doesn't want to do that. You know, that's the last thing he wants to do. To break off a little change. But to show you how racist the president is, he's willing to allow South Africans to come in, white South Africans to come into this country because they say they're being persecuted by blacks down there. Okay, now, so he's willing to bring in racist South Africans, I guess, to increase the MAGA party and the number of racists in America, but brown people, he's running out of the country.
Not just running out the brown people you expected to run out because we were talking earlier today and actually one of the people involved with this network actually made a comment about it, making sure that his Indian brethren had their correct paper and everything. But there was a major raid, I think it was last week, in one of our suburbs here, and they didn't get the Mexicans, they didn't get the Hispanics and everything. They actually grabbed, I think it was about 10 or 11 Indians that they said had the wrong paper. They went and grabbed them in a fairly affluent neighborhood. So we're going to see some of the people that are of affluent Asian background, like the Indians and the Pakistanians, that are getting grabbed up. Because like I said, it was only a small group, but it was about 11 that got picked up this past Thursday. And I think even some of their neighbors were shocked that they were the ones that were picked up and everything. So is it just going to be not just the Latin brown people, but other brown people as well that get picked up?
It's going to be brown people, and he's not going to do anything to whites because you haven't seen any white Europeans.
Nope.
They say, if I'm not mistaken, they say Romania has the most undocumented people in this country.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, hey, what's up with that?
They haven't picked up any Romanians that I've seen and everything like that.
So
I never knew Mr. Trump to be a fan of NASCAR, but apparently not only did he go to the Super Bowl where he got mad at Kendrick Lamar, but he also went, I think it was last week, down to Daytona 500, and he just couldn't be satisfied with going to the Daytona. He had to actually go and run his car around the lap and everything. So it's just another example of him being a little bit of a narcissist.
yeah, he just has to be in a atmosphere where people would cheer him when they call his name. He wants to hear those cheers. A dictator. Okay, go back and look at Hitler. Okay,
Right.
look how the people when he got up on stage and threw his little salute of how the people reacted to him. Okay, yelling and screaming, and clapping and stuff. That's what a dictator wants. A dictator wants the people to respect him and to, worship him. That's where he gets his thrill at. He don't get his thrill from his wife. He gets his thrill from the people. Because a lot of people yelling and clapping and hollering, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President. He's good to go.
Yeah, but that was a little bit dangerous in my mind because, like I said, I am in North Carolina. NASCAR, North Carolina is NASCAR country. It's been NASCAR country for a number of years. A lot of great racers, including Richard Petty, who my uh, mom would have run against if she had not lost to Elizabeth, the current Secretary of State, and everything along those lines and everything. She would have been running against Richard Petty. My own mom would have done that, but instead, our current Secretary of State, who's had that job now for a number of years, won and then beat Richard Petty. So it's definitely had this rich history and everything. But the thing that most people know about NASCAR, and I think it's the reason it's somewhat popular, just like stock car races are popular and everything like that, is because it's kind of like that notion of when you see a wreck, you kind of like stretch your your eyes to see how bad the wreck was and whether anybody was hurt. And sometimes we have that guilty pleasure in our mindset and everything. So was that a little bit risky for Donald Trump to go around in that lap and everything? Because I'm wondering what the reaction would have been if he had spun out and if his car had been involved in some kind of crash. Because I do know for a fact that part of the reason that people watch NASCAR races is because they are somewhat wondering if there will be a crash, and if there is a crash, how sensational will the crash be? And I hate to put it that morbidly, but that is why a lot of people watch those races, because you're going around at 100 or 1,000 miles an hour, maybe not 1,000, but definitely several hundred miles an hour. And if there's a crash, those crashes are oftentimes fiery, and they oftentimes don't end well for the drivers and everything. And that is kind of one of those guilty pleasures that people have and everything. So what's your take on the popularity of NASCAR and what would have happened if something bad had happened to Mr. Trump or President Trump?
Oh, nothing. He would blame it on DEI. He would say the black person caused it.
Oh, he would have said to the black person it was because of the black engineer that put
Yeah,
the tire on wrong and everything. That's what he would have blamed it on.
that's what he would say. But he. I mean, right now he doesn't care. I mean, for me, that was very disrespectful of the office of the presidency to drive a limousine around there.
Yeah.
Showboating and just acting like a fool. Okay, and that's what he was doing. He was acting like a fool. So, um, yeah, he's off the chain. But my problem I have, nobody wants to stand up to him. He's just a man, a loudmouth, brainless man.
But there is somebody who wants to stand up to him. I read earlier, I think it was yesterday, that his former vice president is actually saying that he would like to stand up against them and then be kind of like the voice of reason. So just like Dick Cheney and his his other family members, Liz Cheney among them, have tried to stand up to him. Apparently, Mike Pence has offered to the Republican Party to stand up against him and everything. So I don't know that enough of the MAGA people will listen to Mike Pence, because they didn't really have much respect for him when he was basically ordering his people to attack him because he didn't want to certify his losing that particular election and everything. But Mike Pence has come out recently and said that he would not mind taking him on. But I mean, we got all these crazy people that are in office. We now got Robert Kennedy running the Health and Human Services. We got Miss McMahon running education, and education is being tortured left and right and everything. And we've got Headspeth in defense. We got Mark Rubio, who's apparently over there negotiating with Putin in Saudi Arabia and everything. So we've got all these different people that are going on there. And this whole notion of him doing crazy stuff, this is nothing new. I'm not going to be surprised, because I think they still own the property. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody that's listening, correct me as well. But I will not, since he's been at the Super Bowl, since he's been at the Daytona, will we be surprised, one, if he doesn't make it to some March Madness games, including wherever the finals are for March Madness, and if he doesn't make an appearance on the WWF in a soon-to-be match? So the president rolling up into another wrestling match would not surprise me in the least bit. I know that they would have to have some intense security because it is the president, but I'm not going to be surprised if he doesn't roll up into a wrestling match.
Again, he lives off and breathes off of the adulations. Okay,
Yes.
and that's why he's going to be there. But they booed him at the Super Bowl.
Not according to him. He said that they were booing Taylor Swift. He said that they would not boo him.
They booed Taylor Swift, and one time they panned up to him and they booed him.
Oh,
And so he gets his boos, but still, fact is he likes being in that type of atmosphere. 'Cause that's where he gets his kicks from.
Yeah, he definitely gets his kicks from there and everything along those lines. And of course, he's got his people that are now going to be in charge of trying to make Hollywood better because he's got his, I think it's four actors that he's put in charge of trying to make Hollywood great again and everything. And I guess he's going to put the people to try to make the Lincoln Center great again as well. I always thought the Lincoln Center was already great, but apparently it
Yeah.
was not great enough for him.
But the thing is, Hollywood money is Democratic money, okay?
Right.
Even though a lot of those guys are Republicans that have TV shows, it's the Democrat money that's paying for a lot of shows, okay?
Yeah.
Little money, okay? So I don't know what his whole idea. Can't even spell Hollywood. So how he gonna go out there and put some has-beens in place to make Hollywood great again?
Yeah, and what would be great again? Does that mean that we're going to bring back Gone with the Wind, a new version of it? Does this mean we're going
Yeah.
to bring back uh, um, uh, one of those Sound of Music or one of those other kind of specials that were very much popular during the 40s and 50s and maybe even a little bit in the 30s? So we're going to go back and dig up some of those old movies. Now we're going to be doing a remake of It's a Wonderful Life and
Mhm.
everything like that. So are these the movies that he would like to see
Yeah.
remade? Maybe he wants to see, and like I said, I like this movie. I'm not knocking it. It was a great movie. Maybe he wants to see a remake of Sounder.
Hmm. No, Trump. That's one thing we as black folks got to realize. We are not in the equation, okay?
Right.
And Trump's whole idea is, like he said, to make America great again. He wants to lean on white people,
Hmm.
okay? Because that's his base, okay?
Right.
Yeah, he got some black conservatives, but heck, 95% of his base is white. And those are the people he leaned on. Believe me, Trump don't give a crap about liberal blacks, okay?
But speaking of conservative blacks, Reginald, he came out recently and said that he was going to support one of his dogs in the fight from our community and everything. So I think that he came out either yesterday or the day before and said that he would love to have Byron Donalds as the governor of Florida. And through his support behind Byron Donalds, there's not been a black governor ever that I'm aware of in Florida. But apparently, according to Trump, Byron Donalds would make a great governor. And we know that Florida, much like North Carolina, and I would argue to some degree, Maryland is a divided state because, as far as I'm concerned, there are really almost like 5 states in Florida. There's Central Florida, where Disney is based and everything. There's Southern Florida, which is a whole different kind of atmosphere, and then there's Northern Florida and the Panhandle in Florida as well. So there's at least 4 different regions that have 4 distinct personalities in Florida and everything. There might even be 5, but there's at least 4 because I think of Northern Florida, the Panhandle area to the west, and definitely the south and the middle where Orlando is. And I might be leaving somebody out, but there's at least 4. Maybe there are 5 regions in Florida.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, Donald, he's gonna get the backing of Trump and 47, whatever the fool's name is, and he's gonna get the backing of Magna,
Right.
because whatever he says, that's who they're gonna follow. Okay, so he's pretty much a shoe in,
Okay.
and that's what the power is. But these guys, they can't continue to be scared of him, and they can't continue to feel like they can't challenge his work and what he's doing. So like I was saying, we're not even in the equation. Black liberals are not even in the equation.
Mm-mm.
Okay, because he was able to get all these companies to drop DEI, which in a sense, yeah, okay, I know it's a big deal to us, but it shouldn't be because the majority of the people that benefited from DEI were white women,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Then the LGBT community, then disabled people, then other people of color, and blacks. We only gained about 3% from DEI, okay? It really didn't affect us, but the thing was, companies like Target, when George Floyd got killed, say, okay, this is what we're going to do to make the community better.
Right.
Now, all these companies, including Walmart, have dropped out and said, no, we're not doing this no more. We don't need to do this no more. they buy into that scenario
Mhm.
that says that we're one country. You know, we all got the same color blood. We all unified. We should all have the same rights and go after a job. It still don't work that way. Okay. Then if I go in for a job with my credentials and a white guy come in there that ain't got nothing, might not even have a GED, and I'm talking to a white owner of a company, who he gonna hire? He gonna hire the dumb white guy.
You go ahead and dumb white guy and everything like that. Hey Reggie, what do you think about these boycotts? I was talking to a young lady that earlier it was actually on this network that says that she is not buying. I think it's any more Target products or Walmart. I think that she went and bought a Costco card because she was wanting to boycott Sam's and everything. So are these boycotts going to be effective, and should we be boycotting these companies that are not backing our causes and everything like that? Because, like I said, I was talking to a young lady that has already pulled out for some of her memberships because of their attitude toward us as a people.
Personally, I don't think they're gonna do as well as we want them to do. Okay, come I'll tell you why.
But
Blacks shop at Walmart. I mean, the majority of the people in our urban areas, when you look at the East Coast, most of the largest cities in the South, anywhere there's a large city, and that's where blacks shop at because of the prices. Okay. Another thing is we do not follow the news as much as well. What you call they don't follow the news either. Uh, the MAGA folks, but we can't get the information to them to say this is what we got to do. Okay. Now I'm a member of an organization up here, and we having and that's why I hope Richard's going to be on tonight. We having a big conference on Saturday. It's entitled "Reimagine Wall Street." Okay, and and we're taking the stance that hey, yeah, we do need to do some boycotting, but at the same time, we need to come back together as a community and reimagine Wall Street because we can do it. We have the money, we have the people, we have the talent. That's what we got to do. Now, in order to make a boycott effective, we got to be able to go other places to get what we need. Okay, and we don't have those resources in our community. Then when you look at the black buying power, we probably the sixth largest country in the world.
easily might even be the fifth largest and everything. But one of the arguments that people have, and I've been hearing it for a number of years, as long as I've been involved with Hayti and everything, which is one of the Black Wall Streets, along with Central Park in New York, along with Rosewood in Florida, and along with Tulsa and a number of others, including some out on the West Coast, is this notion that it sounds like this is what you and Richard are saying is a fallacy. But a lot of people would say that we can never create another Black Wall Street because this is a different day and a different time, and that kind of support that existed then. Because even I think I showed it to you one time. One of the quotes, if I was at Hayti, I would go and show it to you again. But it's a quote where I think it was W.E.B. Du Bois talked about the fact that you could literally sleep on a mattress that was made by a black man. You could go and be born in a hospital that was black run, that being Lincoln Hospital, just down from your alma mater of North Carolina Central University. You could die and be buried at the hands of a black man at a black-owned funeral home. You could even get a suit that was designed by a African American and sold at a African American haberdashery, which is just another fancy word for a store, and all along those lines. But you could definitely get some great food that was created by African American cooks and all along those lines. But there are a number of people, including some of our young people, that say that we don't have those kind of resources and resolve to support ourselves. So what do you say to those people that say that creating another Black Wall Street is an impossibility?
It's not an impossibility because we have one thing we learn how to leverage technology, we can get a lot of stuff done.
Right.
Okay. That's the first thing. But the second thing we got to look at and be honest, a lot of young black males that are probably not about nothing, they're going over to the Republican side, okay?
Right.
For some strange reason. So you got to come together as a collective body, but I still think if we will learn how to leverage um, technology, we could get some of this stuff done. I mean, if you look at Roland Martin only has about a million subscribers,
Mhm.
and that's not a lot of subscribers
Well,
when you look at the number of blacks in this country. So he is even having a hard time reaching the masses. Okay, because he doesn't get a lot of support from the mainstream advertisers. So he's playing behind the eight ball also.
yeah.
So we just won't leverage the stuff that we need to leverage.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the other thing that's going on is a lot of people are enthralled, just like a lot of them are enthralled by our society. We know that if you go down the street, you might hear a hip hop song playing, and then when you turn around, it is not necessarily the brothers or sisters that are playing that song. It is some white buppy or white buppy would actually be one of us, but a white yuppie that is playing the music and all along those lines and everything. And it is not always our folks that are playing the music of Kendrick Lamar and everything. And then on the flip side of that, there are a number of brothers and sisters, not just the celebrities, but just brothers and sisters that like to experiment with what is on the other side. And I've got family members that have dated folks on the other side, so I'm not knocking it. Love can definitely cross all kinds of boundaries, and we love who we love and everything like that. But there are a number of people that like to see if the grass is greener on the other side, and they want to know if maybe their lips taste sweeter or their body is better than others. So, what do you say to those brothers and sisters that have become enthralled by the other culture, just like the other culture has become enthralled by us?
Well, I think in order for us to be successful, even if we are able to reimagine Wall Street, we're gonna need help from our liberal white friends. Okay, I
Mhm.
mean that's we're gonna need somebody to support us.
Right.
And so hey, if they're willing to help us out, we got to take the help.
Yeah, we definitely got to take the help. And like I said, maybe they're willing to help us out. They definitely love our music. And in some cases, they have loved our culture for a while. There was a known fact that Mr. Duke, not so much the founder of Duke University, but his younger brother definitely loved stepping on into the other side. I think that there were things that said that there might have been some of the black elite and the white elite that might be related to each other because of family bloodlines and everything. And definitely it was a known fact that he liked to come and check out the clubs of that particular environment. And it just wasn't here in Durham. It was in places like New York. It was in places like Chicago. It was in a number of places where folks were like, hey, their music is a little bit cooler than our music, and their people are a little bit cooler than ours. So we might need to go hang out over there. I mean, wasn't that part of the appeal of prohibition? Was it some of the best clubs? Were the speakeasies in our neighborhoods, whether that was in Chicago or whether that was in New York or a number of other places? I think the gangsters loved coming into our neighborhoods and everything like that.
Yeah, but like our conference, and I'm gonna tell you where we are in the country right now. We did use Eventbrite to announce, and I sent out some press releases on yesterday to the local television stations, and we're doing a lot of leveraging Facebook and things like that. We set Eventbrite up for 200 people.
Hmm.
We're getting more than 200. We
Oh
got more
wow.
than 200. And we got a good panel of speakers and everything. We're going to discuss a number of issues that are pertinent to the black community. But I think one of the reasons for our increase this year for our conference is because the times we're in.
Hmm.
Okay? I think one thing that's happening, not all, but many blacks are waking up and seeing that, hey, this situation is real. Okay, this is a real life situation we in, and we need to figure it out. Okay, and so I think what's happened, people they want to come and hear what we got to say, and what the people on the panel got to say, so they can see where they go in this country. Okay, we need to really it's our time. We've got to wake up. Okay, they're gearing to take down the Department of Education,
Yep.
and HBCUs are going to be hurting. We already have some HBCUs that have having financial issues at this time. If Pell Grants and other forms of financial aid are destroyed or limited, these universities and colleges will go out of business. And we've got to wake up. I was thinking the other day, I said, I better not post this on Facebook. I might get myself in trouble. But do you remember 1968?
Mm.
It was a hot summer that summer.
Yep.
But it took something like December 1968 to wake up white Americans to see that, hey, we are here and we want part of what's going on. We want some opportunities. Okay, so we've got to wake up. If we don't, we're going to get ran over.
But wasn't that a message that was sent out on a movie that was released back in, I want to say it was in the 90s? And I don't know that we have heeded that movie and everything like that. And it was one of Spike Lee's early movies and everything. But there was literally a character that at the end of the movie, I think it was Spike's character, that literally was yelling for everybody to wake up and everything like that. And I haven't seen, it seems like we've got a number of zombies out there that have not heeded that call. And like I said, that movie was well before 9/11, so it would have been back in the 90s that movie was released and everything. But that was a mantra where he was telling everybody to wake up. And I don't know that we heard it then, and we're definitely not hearing it in 2025.
Well, the problem is we've gotten too comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got a little money, we can drive what we want to drive. We're making. You look at athletes, you look at entertainers. They're making millions and billions of dollars. You know, I don't know if the athletes and the entertainers are scared to speak up. It seems like the white entertainers speak up, and a small allotment of minority entertainers speak up. But we could be in a better position than what we are if our entertainers and sports people come out and talk more about the issues. And they don't do that.
But aren't they afraid to upset the apple cart and everything like that? Because I mean, I have heard for a number of years. I mean, Tim Reed has got his studio in Virginia. Of course, Tyler's got his in Georgia and everything. But how many people actually have access that don't use the access? Because even when I was in Miami, I will give a big shout out to Shonda Land, because she is one of those people that was standing up against Kennedy and all along the Kennedy takeover by Trump, because Shonda Rhimes is definitely one of those people that is not afraid to speak, and she does have her company, Shonda Land, and everything like that. But a number of our brothers and sisters take the money and are afraid to speak the truth to power, if I can use that saying and everything, because they're afraid of rocking the upsetting the apple cart. That's the word I was looking for, upsetting the apple cart. So do we have enough people that are willing to take the chance to make bold statements?
But they won't. They won't. Man, why does a small time guy like me and the rest of my crew in the DC area, we've got to have this conference to try to get the word out. Okay? I'm too old for this, but somebody's got to be out there sounding the horn.
Mm-hmm.
Blowing the whistle. So I mean, I'm hoping that we're going to wake up, because we got to wake up. You look at how, I know a few people, and then I know of a few people. I know of a few people who lost their jobs in the last couple of days.
Right.
From the federal government. When are we going to wake up and see that, hey, we can do this ourselves? But we've gotten comfortable.
Well, what can we do to get uncomfortable? Because I sometimes think that we're afraid to get uncomfortable, afraid that of upsetting the apple cart, afraid that it would do something wrong for us, and all along those lines. So, what can we do to make sure that people understand that it's okay to upset the apple cart?
First of all, people got to come to events like the event that my organization is having on Saturday. That when Richard and I ever get together and have the one in Jacksonville, people show up. Don't be afraid to speak up. Stop putting the crazy stuff on Facebook and put stuff on there that people need to know and understand what's happening. Because I'm not afraid of to go on to Facebook and uh, say what I have to say. What Facebook gonna do? Close me down? Okay, they do that, then that's what they do.
I mean,
You
it's not going to stop you because you're going to keep doing what you got to do, and you're going to keep doing the changes that you want to make and everything like that. But yeah, some
So
people are afraid that they will get censored, and there's a lot of people that
yeah,
are afraid of being censored and afraid that they will lose what control they have. But do they really have any
they
control
don't
of
have to do
choice?
so. Cause see, look at our churches, man. When we were coming up, the center of the action was the black church in the community.
Right.
You came together at the black church, you discussed everything. Now people now are scared that hey, if they do anything or say anything that's contrary to what Orange Head wants to do or speaks about, then they're going to lose their income tax status to be a nonprofit. So that's a lot of it too. The preachers not really getting on board. You got a few that are getting on board, but most of them aren't getting on board because they don't want to lose their status, their nonprofit status.
So they're afraid that if they say something, that they won't get the support that they want to get and everything like that.
That's
Speaking of
right.
the churches, I got to ask you this because I've been trying to figure this out for a while, and it's been popular
Mhm.
for a while and everything. What's with so many of our churches falling into that prosperity ministry mindset and everything? Because you see all these ministers, well-to-do ministers that are making a lot of great money and all along those lines. But then when you look at the bigger picture, their ministers are getting paid, but their congregation, the ones that are supposed to being rewarded, they are struggling. Many of them don't have the right housing, and they don't have the ability to pay for basic necessities and everything. But it kind of reminds me of the slavery mindset, where they told us that don't worry about getting your ass whooped and everything, because everything will be all right in the by and by, meaning that it'll be all right after you make it to heaven's gates and everything like that. They've been telling us that for several hundred years and everything, and it seems like we've got a new version of this now, where they're basically like, don't worry about what Trump's doing to you. Don't worry about what's going on, because everything will be all right when you make it to see the maker on the other side.
Okay. Now we do have some pastors out here and some churches because being a pastor is for many of them are jobs. Okay,
Right.
that's a full time job. Now, if you and I know a lot of them, and they don't speak prosperity because they are on a salary at the church. The church knows how
Right.
much they're paying them. They're doing the work they're supposed to do, and I don't have no problem with those guys because it's their job, and the church and church officers have decided to pay this person X amount of money and take care of different expenses. Okay, I'm cool with that. But then you got those guys who and gals who preach. They try to make you feel bad.
Right.
If you're not giving to the church, not giving to the pastor, and not supporting God's person, then you're going to hell. Okay.
Right.
So they feed into that. So what starts happening? They start giving that rent money and electric money to the church so the pastor can live large. And the pastor keeps saying, well, if you give $50 this Sunday, God gonna bless you 4 times more, and then by next Sunday you're gonna have 200. You're gonna have $200 for giving me $50. So that is what's happening with this prosperity gospel, and a lot of people getting duped instead of just thinking for themselves. And I think I lost my producer, Mark. He's disappeared on me.
No, I'm still here trying to get the other people set up for their show as well. But yeah, I'm still here. I know you got all kinds of things going on. So tell folks more about this major project of yours and how they can get in touch with you and how they can go to this conference and where it will be there in your city in the near future.
Yeah. So, but like I was saying, you heard the last statement I made about the prosperity guys.
Yes.
They need to stop that mess, man, because a lot of these people would never. even come close to getting what or earning what they half of what they're earning. Okay. Then Saturday. If you want to know about what the CCC is doing, that's a coalition of churches and communities. I'm vice president of that organization. What we're doing in the DC area, we're having a conference on the campus of University of Maryland on Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. Um, and we're going to be discussing the title of the conference is Reimagine Wall Street. If you are interested in getting more information for this, and we got a good panel of people talking, good panel of people that are going to be discussing, let's say using talking, discussing what our next steps need to be in our community. If you would email me at Reggie Kearney, ReggieKearney, one word, at AOL.com. I'll be glad to give you the information. That's Reggie Kearney at AOL.com. ReggieKearney at AOL.com. This is going to be one of our first steps in trying to rebuild our communities, okay? And we're also on February the 28th, our organization will be boycotting Target for 1 year. I know there's some organizations that are doing 40 days. We're doing a whole year boycott. And we're probably going to add McDonald's to that boycott because McDonald's had promised us that it would be one of our sponsors for this event, and they pulled out at the last minute because of DEI, and they said they couldn't support black organizations any longer as they try to sort things out to try to figure out what to do. So we've got a plan, and we're going to be releasing that plan and Saturday and going forward. So, like I said, if you want more information on reimagining Wall Street, and I think all of you all, without me having to go through and explain the Black Wall Street, you know what Black Wall Street was, okay? So again, if you're interested in attending the conference, Reimagining Black Wall Street on Saturday from 12 to 4, um, hit me up on the email at Reggie Kearney at AOL.com. And I'll be glad to give you the information.
It sounds good. Sounds wonderful, and all along those lines and everything. But what do folks need to be looking forward to in the next couple of days as we get ready to go into snow apocalypse here in Durham, North Carolina? So we get ready to get that snow that y'all had. It's supposed to roll in here at 7 o'clock tomorrow. So, what advice would you give to folks that are not used to snow? Because we haven't had a good snowfall. We had one of a couple of inches a while back, but we haven't had a major one in like almost 6 years and everything. So I did have one of my coworkers here on the podcast network that was rooting for 10 to 12 inches. I don't want that, but that's what they wanted. So what advice do you give to folks that might get this snow in the morning?
Just be careful when you're out there shoveling snow, okay? Because if you're not in shape and you don't know what your heart condition is, and you think you're in shape, you will have a heart attack, okay?
Yeah.
So really be careful. If you feel yourself getting winded, just take a break. You don't have to go out there and shove all the snow at one time. Just take your time. Pay some of the little boys about $50 in the neighborhood. They'd be glad to do it for you. But please be careful when you're out there shoveling snow, because
That makes sense. So we're prepared for that and everything. I did hear that some of our local stores had run out of sleds the last time we had a minor snowstorm, so they've ordered more. So I know a lot of people are rushing to get their sleds because even adults like to go sliding down the hills and everything. So I'm too old to be trying to slide down a hill. I've got injured years ago on a ice storm. So me and ice are not big friends, and for me, snow is a four-letter word. So that's a four-letter word and everything. But I'm not trying to get on a sled and everything. But I think you might do good on a sled, Reggie. So you think
uh,
good on a sled?
hey, I'm gonna tell you, man. Back in the day when we had snowstorms, them hills over at North Carolina Central University before they built them all up, those were good hills to slide, take a sled to.
Oh yeah.
Those hills are gone now.
Yeah, I'm thinking that hill down by the old Chidley Hall was probably a real good hill.
Oh, what it was, man. I tell you, that's why I said, everything is built up around Central now. There's no hill space to go sledding there.
No, but I'm thinking that would have been a real good hill going down that one, or even if you were real bold, trying to coming down there by Operation Breakthrough, 'cause that was
Yeah,
a long sled and everything. So those were some real good ones. But yeah, I'm not that bold.
yeah. So those days are gone. Those days are gone. But look, man, let's roll. It's
All right.
been another night, and this has been the Urban Sentinel Live Show with myself, Reggie Kern. I'm publisher of the Urban Sentinel magazine, and my producer at POD TV, Mr. Mark Lee. We just thought we'd sit around here and chop it up, but my friends, let's get serious, okay? We are in some tough times right now, some terrible times. Get involved in your community, get involved on the political scene. We can make a change. We did in 1968, in the summer of 1968. It was a hot summer, but they heard us and things started changing. And that's what we got to do. We can't turn back. We can't let the Orange Head and his crew turn us back. We got to work hard at it. So come back and be with us next Tuesday night for another lively conversation. And again, we appreciate it. And if you are interested in Saturday's event, just contact me at Reggie Kearney at AOL.com. Take care, everyone, and have a good one. Take care, Mark.